Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's take a quick look here again at Chainlink, see what's going on. We're going to double check this trend as well as potential trend reversals, what to look for mainly when situations like this occur, right? Because it's important to recognize that we're not out of the woods yet. We're retesting our local low multiple times. Further downside is probable, but you got to recognize also too that volume and open interest, a few other things in the back end that you can't really see on the charts are super important to recognize. So we're going to take a look at that as well. Okay, so we'll just quickly pull that up. And I want to say thank you to, who was it that requested this here? JCXB, thank you very much for the request. Deeply appreciate that. I'll absolutely be happy to take a look at this for you. And again, there are some times where I get a little behind on my requests. Apologize for that, but the general consensus is to put those in there for me so I can go ahead and cover these coins for you. Do not be bashful. Let's take a quick look. So when it comes to liquidation, folks, we want to look at heavy concentrations in either direction. That may incentivize the price action to go in those directions. Okay. And again, liquidation is mostly just an accumulation of exactly that, liquidation and or stop losses that are in a specific area. Market makers are really good at stop loss hunting. So when we see this here, this kind of price action, when Bitcoin's recovering, majority of all coins recovering, and coins like this here that are moderately overextended, at least in the macro, they are more likely to go down than up, especially with this incentive here. Look at these late longs here, 17 to 1730. It's a decent chance they may get hit here soon if Bitcoin continues down. The overall trend for Bitcoin is down, so I'm not trying to scare you or concern you that Link's going to drop like a rock, but the likelihood of further downside makes more sense based on this metric alone, and we're not going to take trades on one thing only, right? We're going to look at everything, but just what I know on Chainlink for the moment here, it does appear that more likelihood we have a further downside at this point. Keep in mind $20 to 21, that range there has existed for a little while, ever since we've been in this range, for about what, I think that's what, since the 6th, ever since that drop on the 2nd of February where Bitcoin just ripped down, we've seen a lot of difficulty getting across that level through that plane there. We've also got a lot of open interest here. Sorry, correction, this is not open interest. This is liquidation delta, basically telling us that we have way more shorts than longs in the market. So taking a long into that doesn't make a ton of sense. Even though market makers are really good at adjusting that scale and short squeezing the heck out of late shorts, we're in a position right now where the trend is still down, okay? And you don't really want to trade against that. It can take a look here. 280 is that level of open interest here, kind of reaffirming a lot of resistance at that level if we come up to that range. So, I'm sorry, this is a XRP chart. Let's pull it up. I thought I got that. My bad. Give me just a second here. This is the open interest for Chainlink, and what we want to look at. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, 1950. There we go. So 1950 is that level of open interest, right there close to that $20 range, essentially letting us know and reaffirming that resistance range for us. Okay. Furthermore, too, there's not a lot of open interest here locally. There's a little bit of $18, but it's not telling us a ton. So what we want to do is kind of look at the overall points of control. If we kind of zoom out here, we can recognize that the largest amount of volume is at $14. Well, that doesn't help us right now. It tells us that we're kind of away from that. We're further away from any support, so there's not a lot of support in this range. However, if you zoom in a little bit, we can see ever since we've been above $18, there is a lot of open interest here. Basically, these are points of control, open interest, roughly the same. We're looking at $24, that heaviest concentration. There's a pretty big gap here, though, folks. We lose this $18 range, there's a solid chance we could see somewhere in the $15 to $16 range because of that. Okay, so keep that in mind. Again, Bitcoin is underperforming right now. Not a great situation overall, and just not a good situation to take longs with altcoins. Okay, and this is one of those examples here. So let's explain here. Let me explain a little further because I don't want you to just take my word for it. I want to kind of reiterate just some important things to kind of look for, so you understand roughly, where we're at here at this point. First of all, we've already addressed $20 as that point of control or that open interest. So it's going to be just above this local range here. It'll be a lot easier to see that when we zoom into the smaller time frames, but there's obviously a pretty strong resistance shelf here. Okay. Furthermore, on the daily time frame, we're below all moving averages, generally bearish, under 50 in the RSI. We're not quite down as low as 30 either, so we got more room for downside on this coin. Stochastic is swinging up. Money flow index is increasing. We got MACD also rejected here. That's referred to as an MACD FU. You probably know what FU stands for, and that's a MACD basically rejection. Okay, easy way to understand it. So what we should have done is shifted gears back up, but instead there's too much selling pressure. not performing well. If you look at this versus Bitcoin, it's essentially establishing lower highs and lower lows where Bitcoin's got parallel highs and parallel lows. This is not a good look, especially with Bitcoin potentially pulling back, likelihood of further downside here, okay? So take a look at the 4 hour and kind of see if there's any potential shift here. This is one of those situations where if you kind of look, you kind of pull this up. This is a typical situation where the price action was previously testing a support here at about 1805, and now it retested as a resistance here. So the likelihood of further downside is higher because of that. It's a common place to want to consider shorting too. So when you retest a previous support, turn resistance, okay? Furthermore, we look at RSI, still under 50, nothing really great to see here. We can also look at MACD, it's trying to converge, but nothing phenomenal. And we're also below all moving averages, and that local point of control is at 1875. So that'd be an area of invalidation. So just say you take a short, when the price action crosses this level, that's usually when you want to close out, okay? Or set a stop loss just above that. That's usually how I do it myself. While it's not perfect, it does seem to give you the best range of motion. Hourly time frame, we can see here, Ichimoku Cloud is kind of confirming we're fully bearish. There's nothing here really to tell us that a long position is viable. Keep in mind, we've seen a slight amount of relief here, right? We've seen a 3% correction to the upside when Bitcoin has responded with a similar correction. See here, we were about 3% on Bitcoin too. But you got to recognize Chainlink is inversely paired here. In other words, it's pulling back a lot harder when Bitcoin pulls back versus increasing when Bitcoin increases. Right? And that's just a correlation you want to kind of understand is regular for situations like this for coins that are basically overextended. And when I say overextended, I'm just referring to like the macro here. This coin still has a lot of profit left to be taken, and there's not a ton of volume support in the current range. So I think we're more likely to go down than up. What I'd probably be looking for here on this coin is a short in the closer proximity of this local point of control. So I'd probably want to short in the 18 to 1850 range, just below this point of control. So somewhere in here would be good. Again, it's not perfect. If Bitcoin drops right now, I think Chainlink will dump. But between now and then, it's important to recognize that Bitcoin has bottomed out tentatively and is likely to retest 97, 98,000. If that happens, we might see Chainlink continue a little bit higher. So I feel like it's a little early and premature to get into a short, but it's also a good practical place too because we've retested that recent support as a resistance. Okay. Again, just a lot of little things to kind of look for. I'll post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, or Discord. If you're not familiar, it looks a little something like this, where I kind of give you insight on all the coins that I cover, along with some humor here and there too. So definitely follow along. Make sure you check out Bitunix too, folks. We got a decent little deposit bonus here for small balances. Seriously, a $2,000 deposit, $400 rewards. That's not bad at all. Okay, so it's a good return on investment. Check it out, link down below. If you've already used my link in the past, you're eligible for that and every future potential endeavor. Last but not least, of course, you get a lot of questions. If you want to be part of our community, jump on over. We have a free Discord, Telegram, and Twitter. But for the most part, if you want to be kind of learning more and being a better trader, I would recommend at least my Pioneer package, just because it helps get you perspective and exposure to some other good traders. So just know it's there for you if you want it. Otherwise, look forward to work with you, to whatever extent. Have yourself a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks again for your time. Bye-bye.